And we are live, or I should say, I am live. With that being said, today we cover one episode of the Acolyte, and we will cover 3 episodes of the Boys TV show season 4. With that being said, I hope all of you will enjoy the playback or whatever. Let's do this. Um, to start off, I must say, The Acolyte, the first 2 episodes, the first one was above average. The second one was actually amazing. I really liked the second one. I did take a look around to see if people liked it. People hated the show. Now we are into the third episode. I marked down some notes. I did listen to a few reviews out there. People don't like it. I cannot blame anyone. It's not that great anymore. Episode 3 feels like a huge downstep from the first 2 episodes. It feels like another Disney Plus TV show because most of the Disney Plus TV shows they are like that. They are impressive at first glance, but then you realize what's underneath. What went wrong? What is weak? What is not that great? So let's start off with the pacing. Lots of filler dialogue to pretend it has substance. Exposition dumps. Not that much is shown. Everything must be told. Telling instead of showing how the Asian was taken to becoming Jedi. I guess this was to save some money. Simple, right? Now, it's more looking back to this TV show thus far. I do think the characters are kind of weak. I will be blunt and honest. The Ashoka TV show had Sabine that I really liked. This TV show doesn't have such character. The closest Sabine we got those far is the Asian um, Jedi. But the thing is, I can't remember his name, and he's probably the best part of the show so far. So I will add to what I already marked down as issues. The characters are forgettable, and they are very generic. And yeah, it's sad. I want this show to be good. I don't want to sit and review something I ate. Now, this was a flashback episode from Mia, I believe that's her name, or whatever the bad sister. That was from her perspective. So I can only assume the next flashbacks will be the perspective of someone else. Now, I have a few other things to say. Let's do this. The theme about choosing your destiny was kinda decent. It's obvious that the main villain deleted the tribe, but the Jedi will be blamed by Mai. So yeah, Mai, that's the sister. Actually, yeah. Um Now, here are the few things I did enjoy. At least the visual was somewhat decent. The four Jedi were entertaining, the lore was entertaining. I really try hard to defend this show. I really try hard to say, oh, it's enjoyable, it's decent, but I don't have much to say. You just go into that, you watch it, you leave, and you're like, I don't even need to see what happens next. I feel like I cannot add much more because that episode was 40-minute long, but I feel like we got maybe 20 to 30 minutes of actual story. It feels a bit like a Walking Dead episode, but slightly better. I said it. It's slightly better than a Walking Dead episode. Anyway, since I'm doing Circle right now, I will give this episode a 5.5 out of 10, which is a massive step down. Because on the first episode, I gave a 7.5. The second episode was a 10 for me. But this time around is a 5.5. This means this season is not that consistent. It's just not consistent. It's a bit of a shame. You already lost me in one full episode, or I should say in 3 episodes because now it's episode 3. Anyway, uh, this was the Acolyte. Next up, we will cover the Boys TV show. The Boys Season 4, Episode 1, Episode 2, and Episode 3. Now, coming into it, I have seen Gen V last year. That wasn't good. I hated Gen V. I think I gave the entire season a 4 or a 5 point something. That was low. It failed. I didn't want to watch season 4 of The Boys, but here we are. I decided to give the show a chance. I'm like, the show will end with season 5 because this is what the showrunner said or the network. So let's finish it. But I will be honest, season 1 was a masterpiece. But that was the only watchable season for me. I hated season 2 and season 3 as well. Season 2 and 3 have very, very different issues for me, but they are on the same level. It's not enjoyable, it's not something I consider decent. Hell, I wouldn't recommend anyone watching this show because so far we only had season 1 that was good, and the spin-off just feel like a worse show. So going into season 4, the bar is really low to be decent, but it's also really high to reach because season 2 and 3 were that bad. Now, is it the worst thing I've seen on TV? No. I've seen much worse than season 2 or 3 of The Boys, but considering the first season, it was a massive disappointment. If season 1 was not that great, you would have a decent show, but the drop off is just way too big. And now I've seen a lot of reviews of The Boys, and I will agree with what most people have told. I won't add it to my issues, but I will mention it here right now. I feel like this show addresses the same thing it did address in the other 3 seasons. It's just rinse and repeat. It's just, oh, the same thing happens. The same sketch, the same humor, the same funny stuff. I think at some point they will break me if they keep doing it. Now let's get right into it. So I got a lot of very extensive notes because I want to do a in-depth analysis of what's going on, and I want to share what I liked. So just like the other episode in this show, each episode was an hour long, which is kind of cool and long at the same time. Now, let's start off with my issues with the first episode. Issue number 1, storytelling instead of showing the backstory between Negan and Butcher. Now, some of you may wonder, Negan is not in this show. For me, he is. Let's be honest. The actor that played Negan in The Walking Dead, he is back in The Boys, and he has the same kind of attitude and writing. Maybe he's not on Inge, but I feel like I just watched Negan having an exchange with Butcher, and I can assume and swear that was the intent. That's why they hired that actor, because they knew the guy had the chops for that kind of role. So, yeah, how they met, I want to see it. Number 2, Octopus and Deep tried very hard to be funny, reusing piss poor attempts at humor they already tried in the past. This is indeed even more pathetic than prior attempts. So this is indeed coming from me. So I forgot I didn't mark that down. The way I go on with things, I watch the movie, the TV show as it goes on. I mark down stuff, and I just realized I agree with everyone without really realizing. That's hilarious. So, issue number 3, the anti-fan attempts at humor in the short filler clip was really bad. You cut a 30 second. You'll tell me, oh, it's not that much. True, it's not that much. It's an hour-long episode, so 30 second is very small. But again, it wasn't funny. It wasn't needed. Maybe it was a seed for a future sketch or joke. But here's the thing. It's 8 hours, your entire season. How do you expect someone to remember what happened in hour 1? Even more, it wasn't funny. So, good luck. Just good luck. That's all I gotta say. Good luck. 2 word. Now, my final issue. The satire on kids' life matter or whatever, it didn't land well. So now I gotta explain something that's going on in the show, but that's more of an episode 3 thing. But I will bring this up right now because it was there in the first episode. I just didn't realize until episode 2 came in and more of that happened, and episode 3 came in and more of that happened. So it's right versus left. Left, Starlight, right, the Seven and Homelander. And they do poke fun at both sides. That's true. They poke fun at both sides. But I feel like it was in purpose that the villain is the right. The left, so far, they are not really that bad. Yeah, that's the idea. Left versus right. So this show is really, really political. Do I align with any of these sides? Not really. I have a lot of progressive value, and I have, for each progressive value, I swear I have conservative ones. I'd say maybe I'm a bit more leaning toward the right than the left, but even there's a lot of stuff the right does, and I do laugh really hard when I see it in the show because that's a good parody. They really make fun of the right, and I like it. Do I agree with the parody itself? The parody itself is roughly well handled. And again, I align with both sides. People tell, oh, you cannot be a centrist. Yes, you can. You're stupid if you think otherwise. If you don't think you can be in the center, you don't think nuance exists. And you're stupid. You live in fairyland world or whatever. lot of the extreme on the left are as crazy as the extreme on the right. Just look around. Who's destroying property? Who destroyed the family unit? Not the right. Anyway, to go back on topic. If you don't want politics in your media, don't watch The Boys. That's a suggestion I will give you. Now, let's get right into the in-depth analysis, and then I will share some of the things I did like. Deep character arc into maybe leaving the human world for the fish world was cool. It feels out of place. And let's be honest, that was a thing in the past. He is not very well in his reality he is living in. And the octopus telling him, look, go join us in the sea and such. Maybe that'll solve the deep. Maybe it will be like, I don't belong with humans. Very interesting way to portray deep. Now, I will be honest. I don't really remember very well the deep. I feel like the deep had very similar storyline than A-Train. A-Train at some point they wanted to replace him, and they actually did replace A-Train many times. But now A-Train is back. But anyway, the idea was, oh, he is pushed aside, but he doesn't want to be pushed aside. And I feel like the Deep had something very similar with cancel culture at some point. I think that was like at the end of season 1, early season 2. The Deep was like trying to fit in or trying to rebrand, or it's really hard. Look, I've seen season 1, 2, and 3 a year ago. More than a year, actually. 2 years ago. Wow, time flies. But yeah, I've seen both, all of the 3 seasons 2 years ago. We are in 2024. Yeah, time flies. But I feel like the Deep and A-Train, most of the time, they had very similar stuff going on. But here with the Deep, they open up what they can do and how they use him. Wonderful. I like that. Let's keep going with the more in-depth analysis. Homelander being on top and not feeling great was a fun way to depict his new character arc. Homelander thinking about his son and wanting to give him a good legacy was great. It makes him better than before, since now he is more than just selfish. I said that with this specific episode, but I feel like this statement doesn't hold up that very well with episode 2 and 3. It's very sad. It's kind of left off because you realize he's using his son to promote himself. It's in character. It's not really an issue. It's just sad that the more caring nature you could adopt to change as a character, you won't embrace it. And he can't embrace it because they want Homelander to be the villain. And this show doesn't really want nuance. I don't think it wants nuance because it's very political, and a lot of people that are political, let's be honest, they don't want nuance. They want either you're right or you're wrong. Right leaning, left leaning. That's how it goes. Welcome in the USA, guys. This is a USA production. Next up would be Yui being the only one that believes in Butcher was endearing, and it's a very different flavor than season 1 and 2. Now, I bring this up because I remember something very important with Yui in the first 2 seasons, at least. It was more there in season 1, but I remember Yui he needed a place to fit in. He wasn't fitting in very well, but Butcher said that kid, he will fit in. And now it's the reverse that's going on. Now Yui is the one that's like, guys, Butcher, he's not past his prime. We can still use him, can still be an asset, an ally. That's great. Now, the next thing I did enjoy, well, I should say the next in depth analysis would be the characterization of the CIA girl no longer believing in Butcher was great. I remember she was on Buster's side in season one, and she believed in his ways, otherwise she wouldn't be seeing him and such. But now it's a 180, a 360, call it the way you want. It's no longer like that. She doesn't believe in him anymore. So we are left here with nobody trusts Butcher. Butcher is dying anyways. Who cares? That's sad, but that's enjoyable. It's good story. Good story. Since season one, I see a spark now. I regain hope in this show. Now, I only mentioned the analysis aspect, but there's a bunch of things I did like and thought that are worth mentioning. A very long list. The recap was needed, well made, goes right through the point. You're like, okay, this is what I need to know for this episode. The music and introduction to the politician was very fun. The mute girl was great. Starlight, great, funny. Homelander and his son were entertaining. Homelander again. Homelander was probably the highlight because I see him again in my likes. Homelander and Butcher talking was great. And Homelander is like the bad daddy, and Butcher is like a better dad. And it's fascinating because you can't expect, you can't know, you can't tell Butcher can be a good father because of the way he was in season 1, 2, and 3. He is a jerk, but he's an honest jerk. Here you could really see parallels. Butcher actually cares about Ryan. He feels shitty about the way he treated the kid. And that's endearing. Again, that's something for later on. Like in episode 1, we didn't add that much of them. Frenchie, the fight versus the soups, that was really cool. Healing prowess. Okay, so the healing prowess of the mute girl were cool. Nice reminder because I did forgot what her power were, but I've seen it, so now I remember. Uh, the political figure was cool. Acting was on point. Yui pep talk was cool. Again, so much to like about this episode. Oh yeah, and they introduced the sister character. She's clever, smart, and fun. Now it's interesting because I was watching some of the reviews, and before that review came up, the moment I've seen the sister being in the tower with the seven, I was like, she will try to destroy the seven by the inside. And this is why she takes so many of the decisions she took. And then I see another reviewer out there. I watched the review and the guest, and the reviewer was on board with my idea. So maybe I'm not crazy. And someone else said, "Oh yeah, she will be controlling everyone and everything this season." I don't know. I think the sister just wants to wreak havoc in the tower. Maybe she has her own agenda. I don't know, but yeah, to be honest, I think she is probably the best part of this episode outside of Homelander. And what makes her so interesting is at first she doesn't want to be recruited, or she pretends she doesn't want to. She is somewhat of a unreliable narrator because she's really on the facts, but like, you cannot really trust her. She will probably lie to you to achieve her goal. That's most likely why she is a unreliable narrator. She will tell you true things, but she will also probably lie or flip things so they go on her favor. Now, I don't have a lot to say about this specific episode anymore. I thought the ending was perfect, the protest was good, and Ryan is just really fun. And they do more showing instead of telling. Like, they show you that Butcher is really feeling like shite. He's not that great. Um, so yeah, overall, among these first three episodes, I do think the first episode was the best one. A well-deserved 8.5 out of 10. I am excited about the rest. Um, so yeah, let's dive deep into episode 2. Episode 2. This one. Okay. So after watching episode 1, I took a break. I will be honest. It's still an hour per episode. And then I came back to it. And that episode was very important in terms of story beats and important stuff. Now, I will start by saying my first issue, and I marked down subject to change. What it means is, if by the end of the season that thing is good in my books, I will remove that issue. No more. Kaput. Goodbye, good night. If by the end of the season I'm not satisfied with this issue there, this issue will taint the entire season and this specific episode. So let's start off with that issue. Yui storyline is filler and doesn't seem connected to the 7. It feels like it's there to pretend Yui as a storyline this season. And I still feel the same way after watching episode 3. Don't know where they are going with this. And I could relate a lot. I will share a bit of personal life. My parents and I didn't get along all the time. So I would be the first one to relate to what Yui is going through. And I do. But does this storyline fit the season? Mystery. I don't know. I don't know. I will see when the season finish. Maybe the mother character that they introduce will play a big role in the end. Or maybe she was just there to flesh out the personal drama aspects. I I really don't know. So as of right now, it's an issue for me because it feels like filler, wasted time. Maybe this will change. I don't know. Number 2, the dialogue gets under my skin. It doesn't feel natural with my favorite girl boss or smartest person versus smartest woman, woman to woman. That entire elevator sequence, the dialogue broke my brain. I felt like I was watching season 2 all over again. Stop this shit. Stop it. It's not all people talk. This is all Hollywood talks. This is all they are preachy with you. I hate this shit. I want my character to be character and not like insert from the writer or insert from like the production staff, whatever. It's not even funny. It's in season 2 it was horrendous. And now it's worse because this season actually had a good start with the first episode. Hell, even season 2 is quite solid. It's enjoyable. So why? The only explanation I got in my mind is they want people to cry and complain and say how woke this show is. They want to be trending on the internet. They want to create a buzz. It's not good. Why can't I just get good TV and movies? Is it too much asked? You don't need to go viral. You don't. Even if you do go viral, do you really think people will go subscribe to that one subscription service, streaming service, when there's like 30, 50 of them and they all cost the same shit? It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. Trending is worthless. Anyway, number 3, not funny attempt at joke with Deep and the boss about drowning her in the toilet or something. Oh, that was horrendous. They broke me. I swear, this episode, if I wasn't reviewing, I thought I would have quit too soon. I think I would have dropped that episode right there. I was like, are we like 5 years old laughing at poop jokes? I'm really asking because this goddamn show is made by adult and it's supposed to be for adult. Why are we having that kind of shitty dialogue? I swear. It's frustrating. Being edgy doesn't mean good. Nobody could aim in the big firefight. Telling instead of showing all the mother was disgusting in the past. And even if they explain it in the third episode, I still leave it there because I don't give a shit. They don't show you because they want to make you wait. They're like, we will tell you and we will show you later. But actually no, they won't even show it. They will mention it and go deeper into it. But even there, they tell you it's exposition dump again. It feels like goddamn Acolyte. I swear, you're supposed to be better than this, the boys. I Season 1 was a fluke. I swear it was a fluke. Did they fire everyone that was involved in season 1, or they just stopped listening to the good elements in the team? They just kept the crazies. That's mean. I know. I don't give a shit anymore. That episode was far weaker than 1 and 3 as well. So far this episode was the weakest. Now let's read out, let's swap out things. Instead of reading out the analysis, I will read out the stuff I liked. Every racist commentary were entertaining. The Sun was cool. Butcher getting kicked out of the team was very fun and endearing. He's the one that created the team, and now he's out of it. The smartest person was entertaining. The Deep was cool. The action was cool. The kids questioning the heroes save felt great. I like that. Butcher was very fun. Mute and Frenchie were entertaining. The mute breaking apart was also very fun. Ryan deleting someone was sad and well made. The action was entertaining. Butcher and Full Chaos was great. The music as well. Ryan being different than Homelander felt good. Homelander using his own son was accurate to his character. So again, I feel like that kind of ruins a bit the first episode, but it's in character. I mean, it's Homelander. What do you expect from him? He cannot be a good father. Like, he is a jerk. He is a prick. He's the villain of the movie or the TV show. That's Homelander for you. Anyway, now we will go into the analysis part. Homelander seeing human as toys was endearing since human are also soups as toys. Um, so what I mean by there is okay, I get it. Um, well, what did I do? I messed up my word thing. That's weird. Um, so Homelander sees Homelander sees the humans as toys, and the humans they see the soups as toys. So you are what you eat, as they say, and that's very interesting. A Train turning into a hero after a pep talk felt refreshing, and it's different for once. It's not about, oh, let's rebrand you, A Train, because you're no longer the fastest. That's amazing. That feels good because I remember that was the same shit with A Train for 3 seasons. Oh, I'm no longer the fastest. Oh, I need to train. Oh, I need to rebrand. Oh. That was A Train in a nutshell. The same shit over and over again until they are too tired to do it. Starlight slowly turning to the dark side was entertaining. Yui's storyline with his family is about reconnecting. But again, I do think that part is filler. Ryan lack of confidence was well shown and fun to witness. Mute Girl dealing with trauma and PTSD was well shown. The Homelander supporters are depicted as crazies, right-leaning people. The Starlighter supporters are depicted as crazies, left-leaning people. Butcher being useful again during the full chaos was very fun. Butcher deconstruction and messing up everything was great. Overall, this episode for me is a 8 or a 8.5 out of 10, depending on what they do with the mother and Yui and this part of the aisle, whatever. Okay. Um Now I guess we can move on to the last episode we had to cover this week. Episode 3. This one is probably, as a fan of TVs and movies, as a fan of season 1, it was probably my favorite episode in the show. As a reviewer, that's another story. It's a much weaker and much worse experience than how I felt. Simple. This episode has a lot of issues for me. Um, is it the worst this season? I don't think so. I think it's above 2. Um, okay. Let's start off with the issues. The number one, subject to change. Yui filler storyline with the lawyer. They addressed it, I believe, in episode 2, so I get it. That was a follow up to it. but that's still part to something that may end up being pointless and filler to fill time to give like something to do to Yui. What can I tell you? Shows do that. Walking Dead did. The anything joke didn't land. I get it. That was to show us how much a fan she was, but it just didn't work. Number three, not funny balls crushing joke. Like nobody talks like that. It's a parody of probably left-leaning crazies and their like some of their fantasies or something. I I thought that moment was embarrassing. It's who talks like that for real. I swear, you know, a simp like that want to get his ball crushed. Get me in touch. I want to hear the full experience, where they're coming from, and where they plan on going with that. No, I'm honest there. Believe me. Like I want to understand that thing. Like, do you have unhealed trauma and this is how you cope? I'm not poking fun at it. I just try to understand. People do weird stuff. I swear. We are in crazy world. We are in alien world. I swear. If we haven't met the alien, it's because people do weird shit, and the alien are like, I'm not going near that planet with a 10-foot pole. People. Okay. Next up would be telling instead of showing the flashbacks between Mean Girls. I know it's nitpicky, but that's how I feel. I'm like, okay, it's like a cool scene between the girls. You flesh out both character. That moment is important, but why do you need it to be a goddamn exposition dump? You are the boys. You should be above this. It's not Star Wars, it's the boys. Season 1 did that. It was showing you. You could see. I swear, if we go back to season 1, but we made it sound and look like season 4, A Train wouldn't have destroyed someone the way he did. They would have told us, oh yeah, A Train ran into someone and they splashed him all over the place. That's how I feel with this show now. It's like, we don't have the money to hire more people, so let's just deal with it. Make exposition dump. We don't want to build a new set of a school because we already have Gen V with a set with the school. Does it make any sense? I think it does. Telling instead of showing all friends she fell in love with the other guy. Now, I've seen a complaint online. People are like, oh, but now they flip him. Um, I thought it was always in between the lines. I thought it was always LGBTQ plus a whatever. I thought that was kind of obvious, and it was also told in very subtle way. Now they are more like I show you, which is great. But again, the history, instead of shooting a scene or instead of like building a set, making it interesting, it's like, oh yeah, I talk about that over the phone with someone. Cool. You've become so lazy that you'd rather give us exposition dump than visual stuff. So that's it for my issues. Next up would be it would be my likes. We got a bunch of them. Opening scene was entertaining. Starlight and Yui training was cool, entertaining. Fighting game. The Sevens meeting was cool and kicking Ashley out. Good job, guys. That was fun. Butcher dying and talking face to face with Ryan was great and emotional. Emotional talk between A Train and the leader of the boys. Well shown how Frenchy was I. Funny French music with within a great action scene. Butcher and Ryan were great at playing football on the table. Investigating the leak was great when they questioned Starlight. Negan and Butcher were entertaining during their exchange about Ryan. CIA wants to use Ryan, and uh, Butcher want to nurture the kid. You want to care about the kid. You want to treat him like a human being. Ryan and Homelander was fun. Homelander driven nuts was cool. Great acting. Respect on that. Now there's a lot of very important story beats. That was the pinnacle. That was like peak. And after watching this episode, I understand why they divided that season like that and why they gave us 3 episode one shot like that. Because this episode was probably the most important we had thus far, and I'm sure episode 4 will be a perfect follow up. They must. Otherwise, that will ruin how important episode 3 was. Homelander not being trustworthy was endearing. Butcher admitting pushing away others was sad and emotional. Ryan's guilt was so sad and interesting to witness as part of his character arc. The idea of the right wing being the villains was well depicted. The girl sizing people up was entertaining. The drastic measure to bench soups politically was cool. So even like the politics people are very extreme. It's like fascism or something like that. More deep desire to leave humans' world. The allegory of D being LGBTQ plus was well depicted and very cool. He is a fish person. The new villain saying people don't change was endearing. The political girl using her daughter like a sidekick to look cool was good. The construction, the deconstruction of Newman, the politician, was great. Her crave of power or her desire to impress daddy rule her journey to become president. Maybe it's both. A Train becoming a hero was wonderful and earned. I hope they will keep doing that. He's like the unknown factor. He can flip at any time, any day on anyone, and that's a very interesting way to tell a story. Maybe the mother of Huey was an unreliable narrator. Firecracker power poke fun at right leaning propaganda. You make look things bigger than they are. Her powers are very low scale, but her attitude elevates her. The smart person desire to destroy the Seven from the inside was great. Starlight driven toward becoming a leader, the leader of the boys being a bad leader, was well depicted by endangering everyone many times and by placing on a bench Butcher. Theory's sister will use Deep against Homelander. I think that will be a thing. Now we had a very in-depth stream. I give this third episode a 8 or a 8.5 out of 10, just like episode 2. But if they end up being a tie, this one is above. And If they don't die, it's sad, but that's life. What can I say? So far, I am very excited about this show. I cannot wait to see more. I enjoy the boys. Yes, I said it. I believe it. It's surprising. I know. I don't like season 2. I don't like season 3. I'm glad they end the show with 5. One of my friend in real life is really into the show and he's like, "Oh, but maybe Netflix will pick it back up." I don't think so. I don't want him to because I feel like this show is really running out of ideas. I don't know how Gen V will move further and how Gen V will expand on the world building. I have no clue. But I feel like the boys should end. I'm sorry, guys, but feel like I've been wasting lots of time with season 2. Season 3 had a lot of great stuff, but it was poorly handled by stupid people. And here we are with season 4, doing the same humor, doing the same parody, the same satire, talking about society in Hollywood the way they did for 3 seasons. Do you really want this to last 10 seasons? I know I don't. Drop it already. Anyway, I am out. I hope all of you enjoyed.